sort of, I'll segue here into this product.
Mm-hmm.
Even my friends will say, Neil, I don't understand why everyone would do a reverse mortgage. Why don't they just sell the house and rent? Okay, run the numbers on that. Rent isn't what rent was when you got married 35 years ago, or
No.
whatever it was. You know, People aren't paying $900 a month for rent. Anywhere you would want to live is going to be how much? 2 grand, 1,800. Like
Sometimes that's on the low end.
that could be on the low end, depending
Yeah.
on where you are. But no one moves from a $400,000 or $500,000 house to an $800 apartment. It just It's
Doesn't
not what
happen.
we're doing here. People want to live in, maybe they want to live in a nice condo, but
Mm-hmm.
then they don't have the maintenance to deal with. They're just happy to pay the couple $100 a month, condo fees, but they don't want to have to do the maintenance and things themselves. Um, so this product allows them to sort of rearrange their finances so that they're not having to deal with the mandatory monthly debt service that all other types of financing have associated with them. You don't have to make a monthly payment with a reverse mortgage. You can, but you're not required to.
Mm-hmm.
So if people say, all right, so we're trained to believe, like, okay, well, then if I'm not making the payment, then the balance is growing, and that's bad. Okay, is it? Because we're taking the money from somewhere. We have either a stream of income, Social Security, pension, whatever that is, and we're taking that income every month, and we're sending it off to cover the mortgage payment
Mm-hmm.
if we have a mortgage. So what if that stopped? What if you could keep that money? Yes, the balance is growing on the one side, but you're holding on to more of your income on the other side. Or it's helping you afford to be able to live independently in a situation where the other options, let's say assisted living, do you know how expensive that is? If you think rent's high, take a look at any other option that
Mm.
involves some sort of assisted living type of arrangement. It's extremely expensive. The longer you can stay in your home, even with a reverse mortgage, the less you're going to spend of assets if you have them. If you don't have assets and are working off of cash flow, even more important to preserve as much of that cash flow as you can for both quality of life and affordability.
Yeah. So,
That's a lot.
that's a lot, and let's unpack that just a little bit. So, what I am thinking is, I'll use my grandfather. Um, Income is not really a problem. Okay, it's about the quality of life. And when my grandmother became sick, there were some medical bills and things like that, but that was pretty much kind of taken care of. But what you're saying here is that what this product will do is it will stop the monthly payment that would have to go out for living expenses in terms of mortgage. And what that does is those funds can be freed up because gas is not as cheap as it used to be. Food, medication, things like that. Because most of the time, your biggest expense is where you live. So this product, when used properly,
It,
go ahead,
Right.
please.
It'll allow people, the easiest way I can sort of summarize this, it allows people to make financial decisions from strength rather than weakness.
Excellent.
Weakness
Yeah.
is, this is my monthly payment. You got to send that into the bank every month. It doesn't matter if you have a tough time, you get sick, you need to pay for some, help your grandchildren or your children with something. It
Mm.
doesn't matter. You can't just stop making your mortgage payment, right?
True.
With this, you have the flexibility. You can make the payment every month, but then let's say something happens. Let's say your spouse passes away or you have some other needs you need to meet. You can stop making the payments. You can draw funds back out of the loan if you need to. It's just incredibly flexible.
So I have a
Let me
question.
back up.
Go
Let me
ahead.
back up a little. So I want to make sure we're clear with what the difference is between a reverse mortgage and a traditional loan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? A traditional loan, we all know how that works. So you borrow X amount of dollars, and then you pay it back over a certain scheduled period of time. A traditional mortgage, 30, 15 years are typical.
Mm-hmm.
You borrow $100,000, your payment's $600 a month. You pay that $600 principal and interest every month until the loan's paid off. You can pay extra if you want, but you can't pay less than that minimum payment.
Mm-hmm.
A home equity loan, you borrow money as needed. Let's say you set up a $100,000 line of credit. You, your payment is based on how much money you draw. So the more you take, the larger your monthly payment expense is. Typically, those are
So
or they can just leave it all available in line of credit and take it as needed. If in a year they need a roof, they need 30 grand or 20 grand to pay for a roof, they take the 20 grand, pay for the roof, and still no payments are required, regardless of when the funds are drawn.
okay. So I have
Makes
a
sense?
question. You said that if they want to make a payment, they can't. So when you originate this loan, do you either opt in that I'm going to make a payment monthly, or do I have the flexibility to pick up the phone and say, call hypothetically, it wouldn't be you, but call somebody and say, hey, look, this month I don't want to make the payment.
Good question. So you don't even have to call. There's no opting in. Every month you get a statement, just like you do with a traditional loan. It'll tell you what your starting balance was, any loan activity, and the ending balance. If you send in a payment, it'll show you the reduction of your principal balance.
Okay.
If you And dollar for dollar, every dollar you pay on the loan becomes a dollar that is available in your line of credit to borrow back later.
Okay.
So I think I told this story in the class. I had a client who were husband and wife, both in their 80s. They wanted a 15-year payment schedule. So for whatever reason, they wanted to make sure the house was paid off when they turned 100. So this was a great product for them because should something happen to either one of them, they're 85 going into this. Should something happen to either one of them, they can stop making payments or they can start drawing money, but they can make payments as long as they're able to, if
Got
they
it.
choose. So they've been making payments for several years on this loan, and now they have over $100,000 available in their line of credit that they can borrow back if they ever need to. They don't have to ask permission to stop making payments.
Okay.
We don't expect payments. These loans don't show in your credit report because there's no obligation to make a payment. So they pay if they want. They don't pay if if Christmas time comes and they have, some other expenses that they want to take care of. They can not pay that month. We don't care.
Okay.
It'll
So
be easier for us if they don't pay it.
okay. So basically this is a lien, is what you're saying. Is that
It's a
accurate?
mortgage, just like a traditional loan. It's a mortgage. It's a lien against the property.
All right, and it has to be in the first position, correct?
Has to be in first position, and there can be no other debt on the property when we go to closing.
Okay.
We have to satisfy any liens that are on the property have to be paid at closing.
So that's for a point of clarity. I want to make sure I get this right. So I'm going to refinance with and get a reverse mortgage. I have a small mortgage on the house. Like I just hypothetically, I'll use myself. I have a rental property. I owe about 65 grand on it. Right. I decide if I was old enough, right, to go ahead get a reverse mortgage on this property, and it has to be my primary residence, correct? All right. So that's my primary residence. First thing we're going to do is pay off that 65 grand that I owe so that the reverse mortgage becomes in the first position. And for those of you who do not know, when you have liens put against the property, there's an order. So if the property, I guess, falls into foreclosure or into trouble, the lien order matters. Is that correct? Is that a good explanation?
Right. That's right. So let's say you had the $65,000 mortgage, and you also had a home equity loan for 25,000.
That's where I was going. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So the home equity loan is in junior position, second position.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that has to get paid is your primary mortgage. Then we have to pay off the junior lien, the
Okay.
$25,000 home equity loan. And any other funds that were available with the reverse mortgage, you could either take it some or you could take some at closing, you could leave it available in your line of credit. Typically, people take most of our refinance clients are satisfying some initial need at closing, either paying off existing mortgage debt,
Okay. So now let's talk because you said something in the class that because I said that it changed my perspective. You said a successful reverse mortgage is basically end of life. Like this product, right? We tend to think that when someone passes, we're all going to do it. It's all going to happen. Everybody's going to have a turn at it. But if the reverse mortgage allows you to stay in your home as long as you can before end of life, this product has been successful. Is that how you explained it?
Right. It sounds great. So technically speaking, that's a default because death is technically a default on the loan because
Mm-hmm.
the loan has to then be paid back. But in reality, when we look at it, if someone took out a reverse mortgage and was able to use that product to be able to stay in their home for the rest of their days on earth, then how is that not a success? It worked. It worked perfectly for them. And a lot of times one of our biggest frustrations that people are very private and they don't talk to their adult children about their finances in an honest, transparent way. So, the adult children will then call me and say, I don't understand. Mom had a reverse mortgage. They're upset about something, but they're upset because mom didn't really share anything with them. And in many cases, mom was giving them money and paying for things maybe she didn't have the ability to really do it, but she told the kids she did. Um, so, I'm then in a position where I have to explain, like, this is what it is, this is how it works. You're not, she's passed, so the house, you don't have to sell the house. In most cases, it does get sold. Very few people really keep their parents' homes. The only time we really see that are, when the house happens to be, you know, like a beach property
Yeah,
or something like
vacation
that, where
home where the
it's
family is still going to go. Yeah. Okay.
right. I have some clients that have moved to Bethany and um, Cape May, so stuff like that, and so those properties, maybe the family wants to keep it, and they can keep it. They just have to pay off the mortgage, so they'll refinance it, or they can. Sometimes there's a life insurance policy that'll pay off the debt, or other assets they use to pay off the debt. But um, but in most cases, the property does get sold. They have plenty of time to sell it. What they can't do is sit on it and wait forever because the balance is accumulating. So it's really not in the family's best interest to play this out for a long extended period of time. Sometimes they call me and say, "Mom passed away 8 months ago. I'm getting these nasty letters from the bank. But what have you been doing for the last 8 months? Obviously you're looking at the mail, but you got to sell the house. Are you selling it? What are you doing? All the bank wants, all we want, we we expect that in a reasonable amount of time, let's just say 30 days, we want communication from the family. What are your intentions? And usually they'll say, I'm going to, we're going to get the house, after the dust settles, we're going to get the house cleaned out, and we're going to get it on the market. We say, great, send us a copy of the listing agreement. Once you get it listed, they have, this is going to be oversimplified, but basically they have an initial 6-month period to sell the house and up to 2 3-month extensions. But they have to request and get acceptance for those extensions. And to get an extension beyond 6 months, you have to show that, for instance, the property is, let's say, under contract, but it hasn't closed yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you need another 30 days, whatever the time is, or something like that, where there's a reason why that makes sense. It can't be because the house is worth $400,000. You have it listed for six. We're going to have, we're going to have a conversation about that. It has to be a reasonable expectation. So we will, once the last surviving borrower passes, depending on what the scenario is, we will often send out our own appraiser to appraise the property. And we are required, by the way, because people talk about, it's unusual these days, but you could be in a situation where the loan balance exceeds the property value.
Upside down,
Let's say you've had
basically.
this loan for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
In those cases, it's not a short sale. We are required by the FHA guidelines to accept 95% of whatever the house appraises for. So we're going to, when the last surviving borrower passes away, if the
Yeah.
the lender we're made whole for the insurance fund.
Mm-hmm.
And our client, all borrowers contribute to the insurance fund. That's the FHA mortgage insurance premium, and it's not a taxpayer-funded program, and that's what it's for.
Yeah. So that's a very good point. I want to. I don't. I want to make sure that we touch upon this in some of the time that we have left. So basically, this is a FHA guaranteed program, correct? So basically, what that means to the novice borrower is that the federal government is basically backing this loan, correct? Is that how it's explained, or no? Yeah. So it's backed by the
Is an insurance program. So
exactly.
the loan is insured to motivate us to lend this money.
Mm-hmm.
FHA says you're okay. You're gonna, as long as you lend under these guidelines, no matter what happens, if there's a shortfall in the end, we'll make you whole.
Gotcha. So when you said 95%, what you were basically saying here is the company will satisfy for 95%, satisfy the loan, the reverse mortgage. FHA handles the other 5%. That's what all borrowers pay into with the FHA insurance program. The deal is done. The house is either sold or it's been refinanced and they moved on. Correct? Excellent. All right. So we have about 10 minutes left, and what I wanted to do is there's a stigma around it, right? There's a stigma around this for whatever reason it is. Many programs have a stigma around it. What I was hoping today is that the potential borrower understands, like any other mortgage, whether it's an interest-only loan. Some people a few years ago, I don't know why, they took those balloon payments. Oftentimes this can be used as a vehicle in life planning. As you get older, if you want to stay independent as long as you do, like my grandparents, they both lived into their 90s. They've been independent. This man still drives. He still gets up and goes to church. He still walks to the end of his driveway every day and gets his newspaper, right? So this is a tool and a vehicle. And although that there may be a stigma attached, like your people are trying to scam grandma and grandpa, if they educate themselves, they can actually use this as a tool where our parents and grandparents, no one wants to be a burden to anyone. They won't be a burden. They'll have their quality of life. They can live in their twilight years as they so choose without worrying about having to make a decision between household expenses, and things of that nature. So if someone wanted to get in contact with you to get more information, what is the best way they can contact you?
You can reach me by phone or email. My best way to reach me on the phone is 410-977-8870. You can call or text that number. Or email is Neil, Neil, at lowrateloan.com.
All right. So I want to thank Neil for coming on today and sharing this information. As I always do with my potential clients and future clients, is education. And I want to apologize to Neil because when I was in the class, I kind of pushed them. We used the old Cadillac. I said, this is kind of, this is like the old leaky Cadillac, from the 70s. And I want to thank him, number one, for coming on because education is the key. We are in a market now where you have to make informed decisions because not everybody can function in this market. And as costs and things continue to rise and go up, as historically as they have, you have to make informed decisions. Now, one last question. This came up in the class. It was about the interest rate. Like, what was is it comparable? Is it plus one? Like, what is normally in a normal situation? What are we looking like?
It's comparable to what you see in the marketplace when rates were, a couple of years ago in the threes. We were right along there with it. The right now, high sixes, low seven. It doesn't track exactly with the traditional mortgage market, but it does align somewhat. These loans are, with a traditional no one's ever gotten that close. But we don't know how long the loan will be outstanding, so they don't. That's why the rates are a little bit different because we really don't know how long the loan will be in place. Uh, but the rates are comparable, and most of the loans we do, similar to the way traditional home equity loans were, are adjustable and fluctuate with the market. You know, there's a cap, but so even our borrowers today, they're getting into it as rates come down in the coming months, years. Hopefully, they'll benefit from the decline in rates without doing anything really.
Excellent. So again, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I truly appreciate it because I think that the information that you shared will open up a few lanes for people because some of us are in some tight times right now. We have to make some decisions. And I just turned 50 this year, so as we age, we need to really begin to think about this next stage of life, and living expenses is a major part. So again, I just want to thank you so very much. Go ahead.
I applaud you, Frank, for having this conversation. And a lot of people are afraid to have the conversation because they don't understand it. They don't want to talk about it. So kudos to you for even for coming to the class and for doing this today. I appreciate you very much.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one here, and what I will do is I will be in touch. All right. So we just ended the recording. Just want to say thank you. I really do. I greatly appreciate it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak to my client, but I still have your card, and I don't throw cards away. So you might not hear from me tomorrow, but as long as you're in the business, if I ever need a reverse mortgage, you're my guy.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Frank.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye. It's gonna be 104 today, so I'm gonna leave these curtains in the front of the house closed.
Thank you.
All right. I know your parents. It was dark. Yeah, it's gonna be dark
It's
today.
gonna be dark today.
It's gonna be dark today because it's gonna be hot. All right.
Did you get the brown rice? Gianna?
Well, what happens when you get this stuff? What happens here is it scorches because there's no water beneath the top. It scorches. So what I'm going to probably do. You got it. All right. I have it. Then I just get you off if you not got it, girl. Okay. All right. We are converting that. Let's go to YouTube and see. Whoa, we got a lot going on here. That can go. Oh, leave that. That can go. All right. I'm gonna press you. I'm pressing. Ms. Ross.
Frank,
Yes.
you there?
No, I am. I just got off my Zoom call. I had a Zoom at 10. I am throwing my clothes on and headed to you right now, or headed to the office now.
Right. I'm just leaving home. I'll be there in about
see you then. No problem.
All right, then.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
Cooling or heating system on the RS rescue router.
About women that are completely counterintuitive and backed by rigorous scientific studies. Did you know that the color red can completely alter your perception of someone, making them more attractive without you even realizing it? Or that women have an incredible ability to remember emotional details that most men cannot retain? These facts are not just curiosities, they are essential for understanding how social interactions work on a deeper level. By the end of this video, I will not only reveal these surprising facts, but also share a secret tip never before disclosed that will transform the way you perceive and interact with the women around you. Get ready to change your perceptions and enrich your relationships. Stay with us and discover secrets that go beyond the obvious. Number 5. Sensitivity to changes in tone of voice. A study from Yale University found that women are particularly sensitive to changes in tone of voice, which can indicate levels of confidence or emotional states. This ability is not just a minor curiosity. It has significant implications for how women interpret and react to information. For example,